Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and I wanted to give you a quick little list of my favorite herbs to plant in the spring that I use all during the spring, all during the summer, and all throughout the fall. In fact, we even have some herbs that we plant, we put in pots, we move close to the house, and it survives all winter long. And sometimes the ones that survive are surprising. Like we have had the hardiest kale. Now that's not an herb. It is a plant. It's a beautiful dark green leafy, full of nutrition vegetable. But it is. We have found some of the hardiest kale that can survive during the cold, hard winters here in Utah. So I just want to give you a quick little list of some of my favorites to plant. Rosemary is at the top of my list because I love all the things you can do with it. And sometimes one of my favorite things is just to simply grab a little bit of hold of one of the stems with all of the prickly little leaves on it, or whatever you want to call it, and just run my hand over it and then smell my hand, because the aroma of the rosemary is so amazing. And you can take rosemary and either move a pot inside, or what we do is we just move that particular pot close to our house, because rosemary is perennial. And for most people, you could plant a small rosemary bush, and depending on where you live, it'll just produce for you all year long, and it'll actually get super big. I've seen hedges before, not necessarily here in Utah, but in places like in California where the weather's warmer, and there's literally a big hedge of rosemary. And to me, there are so many beautiful benefits and health properties to rosemary besides the fact that it makes your food taste good. So rosemary is at the top of my list. Now, second, right next to that is basil. And we always have basil growing. In fact, my grandson, who's 8 now, he's almost 9, ever since he was little, he will eat basil leaves right off of the basil plants in our little herb garden that we have every year. And it's just the most cool thing, because a lot of people can enjoy some basil chopped up fine, or a leaf or two here or there on a salad, but to just eat leaves of it plain, um, that is amazing. So we always have this we call it our hedge of basil, because it's one big planter box, and we plant like 8 to 10 plants, and they just grow. And so we always have a ton of basil. In fact, one of the fun things that my husband's done with basil over the years is he makes something called basilcello, which is, if you're familiar with the drink called limoncello, uh, instead of using the lemons, the lemon rinds and all of that, you actually use fresh basil. And you would cure it almost, well, exactly like you would cure a tincture. And so he's made basilcello, and we've actually given it to our neighbors and friends for quite a few years for Christmas presents. So there's just a lot of cool things that you can do with that. Now, also what I love and I plant every year is thyme. We plant sage. I love chives, cilantro. In fact, the chives will actually also, if you move it close and you know how to keep it pruned, if you will, or chopped back so that it can continue to grow, this is also a plant you can move in, where you can keep it in your house and it'll continue to grow and produce for you. So those are probably my favorites. Those are my absolute go-tos. And I think that if you can even start with one or two, I know that basil for a lot of people is something that's super, super simple. And you can even get little basil plants in your grocery store and just keep it maybe in a sunny window. And that way you always have fresh basil. So start experimenting with having your own fresh herbs and watch what it does as far as your green thumb, your connection to Mother Nature, especially if you're in a small space and you don't have the room or the yard to have a big herb garden. Our herb garden is actually fairly small, considering, I'm on a pretty good sized piece of property, but it doesn't take up that much space. So have fun with your herbs. Happy spring. It's such a beautiful time of year when everything just feels fresh. It's new beginnings, and it's a wonderful time to plant that herb garden. So have a beautiful day, you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.